I love this time of year. I love seeing the little kids all smiling, and I am a little bit in shock how many people now think it is cool to be gloomy. Wall Street Journal actually agrees with me. They printed an article out that hit just recently. It says, why is it so cool to be gloomy? Like pessimism is in instead of optimism. Oh, we're all stuck. It's all the glass is half empty. Article says this. Has the percentage of the world's population that lives in extreme poverty almost doubled, almost halved, or stayed the same in the past 20 years? What do you think, by the way? Has it doubled? Has it gone in half? Or has it stayed the same in the last 20 years? The percentage of the population of the world that is in extreme poverty. When the Swedish statistician and public health expert Hans Rosling began asking people the question in 2013, he was astounded by their responses. Only 5% of Americans got the right answer. Extreme poverty has been cut almost in half. A chimpanzee would do better, he pointed out mischievously, by picking an answer at random. So people are worse than ignorant. They believe they know many dire things about the world that are, in fact, untrue. Statistically untrue. In fact, untrue. Not your feeling, an actual fact. Rosling published a magnificent book arguing against such reflexive pessimism. The title says it all. Factfulness, 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World, and While Things Are Better Than You Think. As the author of a book called Rational Optimist mentioned the same kind of thing. Okay, people cling to pessimism about the state of the world. John Stuart Mill neatly summarized this tendency as far back as 1828. He said, quote, I have observed that not the man who hopes when others despair, but the man who despairs when others hope is admired by a large class of persons as a sage. It's cool to be gloomy. The economy is going to collapse. There's a bubble. Trump is going to kill everyone. We're all going to die. It's cool to be gloomy. It's interesting. And at Christmas, you're gloomy. Oh, my gosh. The persistence of pessimism about the planet requires some explanation beyond the facts themselves. Therefore, bad news is usually more sudden than good news, which is usually gradual. Therefore, bad news is more newsworthy. Battles, bombings, accidents, murders, storms, scandals, and disasters of all kinds tend to dominate the news. If it bleeds, it leads, as they say in the newspaper business, back when we had newspapers. By contrast, the gradual reduction in poverty in the world rarely makes a sudden splash. The increase of the stock market is gradual. It rarely makes a splash. You never see the stock market spiked today as a leading headline. You always saw, you've lost all your retirement. It's over! Your 401k is a 201k! That's all you see. Stock market spiked. Never. You always see the stock market crashed. Today it crashed. You remember back when it crashed? That's how we talk. The human tendency towards pessimism is absolutely amazing. Did you know that people don't make as much money as they used to? The millennials, they cannot make it. They're overwhelmed with student loan debt. They have no opportunity in America today, and wages are falling. Have you heard this? It's all over the news. World poverty is going to overtake us. The number of people in poverty is really sad, but it's half what it used to be. By the way. Okay, here's the actual facts on wages. This from Pew Research. After bottoming out in 2011, incomes are rising for American households since 2011. Those headed by a millennial, someone aged 22 to 37, now earn more than young adult households did at nearly any time in the past 50 years, according to census data. Actual statistics, not your feelings. The growth in household income among young adults has been driven in part by millennial women who are working more and being paid more than young women were in previous years. Because we all know that women are underpaid and the wages for women are slave wages. We send the women off to the salt mines. We pay them $1 a year. No. The statistical facts are that women are paid more than they've ever been paid in history, which is good. They should be. They should be paid the same. Shouldn't be underpaid just because of your sex or your color or anything else. That's not true. I mean, even if you don't have hair, you should be paid the same for doing the same job, right? I mean, seriously, I don't like baldism any more than I like racism or sexism. Baldism's the one I'm most worried about, by the way, because I'm privileged. But there's a lot of whining going on out there. Gloomy is cool, but the problem is it's not accurate. Incomes of households headed by 54 to 72-year-olds, which would be the baby boomers today, are at record levels, while those of current Gen X households about the same as the peak earnings of similarly aged households in the past. Not a single category of age are wages down since 2011. They're up dramatically, they're level, or they're up, according to actual census data. Now, I don't know about your particular personal situation, but I will not give you permission to whine. We can help you with your situation. That's what we do here. We're glad to help you. And we want to do that. And I don't want anyone to live in extreme poverty, and I don't want anyone to have a bad life. But you cannot say that there is a systemic problem with the economy and this capitalism idea is now a failure. No, poverty, extreme poverty worldwide is half of what it's ever been, and wages are up for millennials more than any time in history since 2011. In the last 50 years, the highest wages of that age group. Interesting. Another article from The Economist to people who believe the world used to be a better place, and especially to those who argue globalism has done more economic harm than good. There's a simple, powerful answer. In 1981, 42% of the world's population were extremely poor, according to the World Bank. They were not just poorer than a large majority of their compatriots, which many rich countries define poverty among their own citizens today, but they were absolutely destitute. Since then, the number of people in absolute poverty has fallen by about 1 billion. And the number of non-poor people has gone up by roughly 4 billion. In 2013, the most recent year for stats, 10.7%, not 42%, of the world are living in extreme poverty. Merry Christmas!